What non-combat MOS impressed you the most? For me, it was the cooks. Sounds funny, right? But let me explain. We were deep in the desert during deployment, running missions out of a half-broken fob that looked like it could collapse in a stiff wind. Dust storms rolled through almost daily, and every piece of gear we owned seemed coated in sand. We were tired, sunburnt, and running on caffeine and MREs most days. Then one morning, I walked into the DFAC and smelled bacon. Not just the powdered cardboard-tasting stuff from an MRE, but real bacon. Crispy, greasy, sizzling on a hot pan. And next to it, pancakes. Fresh pancakes. On deployment. I couldn't believe it. The cooks had stayed up half the night to make it happen. They'd bartered, begged, and scrounged supplies from supply runs, finding ways to stretch powdered eggs and flour into something that felt like home. One guy even rigged a broken oven with parts from a Humvee so they could bake. They weren't just making food, they were making morale. That meal did more for us than any motivational speech or morale patch ever could. And it wasn't just that one morning. Every chance they got, those cooks went above and beyond. Thanksgiving, somehow they had turkey, stuffing, even pumpkin pie. 4th of July. They grilled hot dogs on cut-up oil drums. They knew the mission wasn't only about weapons and tactics. It was about keeping soldiers human when the environment tried to grind us down. I remember one night after a long convoy, we rolled back exhausted, covered in dust, ready to crash. Instead, the cooks had chili waiting. Real chili, with spice and heat that cut through the desert cold. One of my buddies actually cried into his bowl because it reminded him of his mom's recipe. That's the kind of impact they had. We used to joke that the cooks saved more lives than the medics because they kept us sane. But there was truth in it. They reminded us of family, of normal life, of why we were out there in the first place. When you've been gone for months, eating food that tastes like cardboard, and suddenly you get a plate of warm pancakes, it's not just breakfast, it's hope. So yeah, people always think of infantry or armor or artillery when they talk about important MOSs. But the ones who kept us going, the ones who stitched morale back together with bacon and coffee at 500, that was the cooks. And to this day, whenever someone asks me which non-combat MOS impressed me the most, I don't even hesitate. It was the ones in aprons, flipping pancakes in a war zone. They weren't just feeding us, they were fighting despair with spatulas and stoves, proving that sometimes the smallest acts of care hold the biggest power.